Hey everyone, I'm Justin with AmericanTrucks.com, and today we're taking a closer look at the Rough Country 3-inch loaded lift struts here with the brand new springs and top mounts, fitting all 2012 through 2018 Ram 1500s without the factory air ride setup. Now you should be considering the Rough Country loaded struts here for your Ram if you're looking for a turnkey, ready to install package that will level or help lift your rig and make enough room for a set of 35 1250s while also improving the ride quality and ground clearance in the process. So big features to consider here with the Rough Country options, again, will be the complete ready to install package right out of the box that will replace your stock high mileage front strut assembly and spacer combination with a brand new combo that will ultimately make room for a larger wheel and tire. In this case, again, a 35 1250 without trimming, depending on your offset. Now, the ability to run a larger tire is made possible by the Rough Country loaded lift struts here. Again, that's going to raise the front end of your Ram 3 inches, making for a more aggressive stance, of course, but also improving things like your ground clearance in the process. Now, as an added bonus, by upgrading the front suspension with a more, let's just say, performance-oriented design, the ride quality and handling will certainly improve both on and off-road. Now, I do want to point out here, guys, that again, that Rough Country does mention interested Ram owners should only consider these options here if you've already lifted your truck 3 inches and are looking to replace, again, maybe a factory strut and spacer combination or something of that sort. But they really do encourage owners to install something like this if you've already essentially lifted your truck and are looking to replace some components. Now, shifting gears and talking construction here, guys, and the Rough Country kit does include a pair of nitrogen-filled shocks here with a 1 3/8 inch bore size. These will certainly offer, I would say, more consistent performance both on and off-road without a lot of cavitation like you might see with the factory twin tube design. Those aren't always great for performance applications for obvious reasons. And the Rough Country options here will not only be a much better performing design or damper both on and off-road, but the valving is going to be geared specifically for the included spring here, and it will ride, I would say, a little firmer than stock, but that firmness is what you're really looking for when it comes to more off-road control. We did mention the springs here, guys. It does obviously include a brand new set of springs for the front, in addition to the included top mounts here for the spring and strut combination. And that is nice, right? Because it's a turnkey package, again, ready to be installed right out of the box without having to rent a spring compressor or do any extra work or anything that might take up a little bit more of your time when it comes time for the install. Also here, guys, you are looking at kind of a slightly textured or hammer tone silver powder coat on those dampers, and the entire kit is going to be backed by a 3-year limited warranty just in case you run into any issues. Now, coming in at or around the $400 price point here, the Rough Country loaded lift struts, I will say, will fall right in that middle of the pack when it comes to overall pricing, between some of your strut spacer options on the lower side, typically $100 to $200, if that. But then on the higher side of the pricing spectrum, you can look into a full-blown coilover, and those will typically be a bit more money at the end of the day. Now, that being said, guys, there are a few different lift struts available here at AmericanTrucks.com for the Ram. From different manufacturers, including other Rough Country options, for instance, for different front end heights. Rancho has a few options in addition to even a couple from iBox. So definitely take a look at our full selection here for your Ram before you're making your final decision, and just make sure you're grabbing the right setup for your application and your lift height. Now, moving into the installation, and the site is going to call this a strong 2 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter, taking you a couple of hours to complete from start to finish. Now, I will say again, I said it a couple times throughout the video, the nice thing going with a kit like this is that everything is assembled for you. You're simply just going to be removing your front stock assemblies, replacing it with the new Rough Country unit. To give you a better idea of how this will all go down in the garage or driveway at home, let's throw it over to an American Trucks customer for our detailed walkthrough and tool breakdown.
All right, so here's everything we used. 24, 21 wrenches, ratchet, a couple of screwdrivers. You need a few different ones because, you know, you gotta wiggle out the struts. Pry bar, breaker bar for the hard to break bolts. You have a few sockets, 24, 22, and 21. You have a extension swivel here just to get in tight spaces. 2 swivel sockets, deep swivels, 17 and 15. Air tool, and that's pretty much it. So just remove the upper control arm, and this here is a 24 millimeter wrench. Now we're just gonna break that loose. All right, I'm gonna remove the upper control arm using ear muffs just because of the noise. And gotta hit it here a few times until it breaks loose. Okay, this is a 21 size millimeter socket with a breaker bar to crack the caliper bracket off. Do both of the bolts, break them loose, then use a ratchet to make it a little easier for yourself for the rest of the way. One. And 2, and the bracket. You should be able to just take everything off, and just don't let it hang. Just find a zip tie or a wire tie, and you know, attach it to something on the frame or over here, just so it doesn't. All right, so now I'm removing the tie rod. This is a 21 millimeter socket. A air tool if you have it. If you don't, you can use a breaker bar and a ratchet. There you go. Okay, so this is a 24 millimeter socket and a 21 wrench for the strut. Nuts on this side. Got to come around the other side to get the bolt. And then you just have to bang the bolt through. You might need a pry bar to get the little bit extra here. You just gotta play with it. Hammer, screwdriver. Just to get that last little bit out and get it with your hand. Okay, so this is a 17 millimeter deep socket with an extension, 1/2 inch at 3/8, and I'm gonna take the top of the strut mount out. And we're gonna do the same thing for the other side. Just be careful of the antifreeze lines, but it's right past that. Same size, 3 bolts. All right, now using a pry bar, I'm gonna try to remove the strut. Okay, so these are the original struts they had in the car. They had these spacers in here to make up for the 3-inch lift. The Rough Country actually comes with the lift added to it. So it just makes it a lot better, you know, it rides better, and it's much easier to install that way. Okay, so now installing the strut. Just find which way the pattern goes, try to match it up with this. Pop it in there, and you can actually see right through here, right through the wheel well. I would keep a nut in my hand, put the nut on, and that will hold it in place. All right, so now I'm just gonna get the strut into place using a pry bar. And then just line it up to the right spot. I would use a smaller screwdriver at this point just to get it into the right spot. Okay, so you're probably gonna want a friend for this part here. I'm just gonna pry down on this to give me the little extra room so you can slide the bolt through. Here, let me see that pry bar. Okay, and you might need somebody to help you on this last part. I'm gonna pry this up while somebody just bangs in the bolt the last few inches. All right, good. Okay, now we're gonna get the upper control arm back on. Gonna have to use a pry bar. Just get it down far enough just so you can get the threads caught. Okay, so you're gonna want a friend to help you with this to hold the strut down, because again, this is a cone. And as soon as you get that tight, tighten up the nut. Okay, so now moving on from the control arm, this was a 24mm socket with a swivel extension, just to help me get the angle on this. And now I'm gonna be moving over to the tie ratchet. This here is a 21mm socket. Like the control arm, this is also a cone. So you're gonna wanna have somebody helping you. Pushing this down so the bolt doesn't spin while you're trying to tighten it. I would suggest air tools when tightening these. If you don't have that option, you can still tighten it with the ratchet. Just find a good spot for that. Give it some pressure. All right, so now I'm just gonna tighten up the bottom of the strut. This is a 24 socket, 21 wrench. Now I'm going to move on to putting the caliper back on. I use a zip tie here, so it wasn't left hanging, so there's no pressure on the brake line. So just make sure you do something like that. Push that right back on the rotor. Line up the bolts in the back. Always keep them in your hand. Top. Bottom. Okay, now let me just go grab the socket for it. All right, so now I'm going to tighten up the caliper bracket, 21 socket, ratchet. All right, that's it. Tighten up the top of the strut using a 15 deep socket and an extension.
That will wrap up this review and install of the Rough Country N3 loaded front struts for 3 inches of lift, fitting your 2012 through 2018 Ram 1500 without air ride. For more videos like this, make sure to keep it right here at AmericanTrucks.com.